If you're a property owner, you may well have heard the term vapor intrusion. But what exactly is vapor intrusion, and how can it pose a threat to your property and your tenants? Environmental regulatory bodies traditionally focused on contamination levels in groundwater and soil, but in the early 2000s, they realized that people could be exposed to vapors originating from the soil or groundwater far more likely than originally thought. The phenomenon of contaminated vapors seeping into buildings is known as vapor intrusion, or VI for short. VI can occur when a property is contaminated with volatile organic chemicals, which can emit vapors that may migrate through subsurface soils and into indoor air spaces of overlying buildings in ways similar to that of radon gas seeping into homes. These chemicals can stay in the environment for a long time. Also, vapors can migrate long distances through sewers and utilities, so your site can be impacted even if the spill occurred at another site. And the levels of vapors that could trigger cleanup obligations are very low. Thus, the potential for vapor intrusion is increasingly becoming the reason that regulators require properties to be remediated. Larry Schnaff, principal of the environmental law firm Schnaff LLC, sheds some light on the issue.
We're typically dealing with the volatile organic compounds known as trichloroethylene, and which is probably the most common contaminant in the country. It's a solvent that's used to clean a variety of equipment and operations. And then something called PERC, which is used in dry cleaners. And dry cleaners are probably now the leading cause of vapor intrusion in the country.
Sometimes methane vapors from landfills or gasoline from service stations can accumulate in buildings at levels that may pose near-term safety hazards, such as explosions, acute health effects, or aesthetic problems like foul odors. However, the more typical situation involves vapor levels that may pose unacceptable chronic health effects due to long-term exposure to low levels of these vapors. Many properties that regulators would not have required cleanup in the past because contaminated groundwater was not being used or the impacted soils were covered so people could not be exposed to the contamination may now be subject to enforcement. For more information on how to address potential vapor intrusion at your property, visit Schnaff LLC at environmental-law.net or call 212-876-3189. Schnaff LLC, helping you turn environmental liabilities and obligations into business opportunities.